Joseph Smith for Seconds Out here with Paulie Malignaggi in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. How are you getting on today?
Getting on good. It's quite a place.
Yeah. How are you finding it here in the Middle East?
I find it hot. Yeah. I find it hot, but I find it interesting. They've been treating me good. It's interesting culture, interesting people, and I'm having a good time.
Nice. Well, you're here for the Amir Khan versus Billy Dib fight happening on Friday. Can you just kind of assess the event and also how it is as a boxing match? Because it's obviously quite a big event both for Khan and the Saudi people. So just as a boxing match and event, how do you feel?
I think sorry, still the jet lag getting over, but I think as an event, it's quite a big moment here. You know, I know they have a plan to bring a lot of sporting events here to the Middle East, and Jeddah is and Saudi Arabia themselves they have a big plan in place to slowly by 2030 have like amazing events here and whatnot, and slowly they're building to that. You know, so I think while the fight may not be the biggest deal on a world stage. These are both ex-world champions, but they're both kind of looked at as a little bit faded. But this is an opportunity for one of them to kind of step back into the spotlight, because as an ex-world champion, you're always 1 or 2 fights away from kind of being back in the limelight if you can start to look good, you know. And I think for the people of Jeddah and for the people of Saudi Arabia, I think it's an interesting fight because they don't get top-level athletes here performing all the time, you know. So you have a chance to have a fighter like Amir Khan, who's been an ex-world champion. You have a fighter like Billy Dib, who's been an ex-world champion. You've got some decent fighters on the undercard, like Huey Fury fighting Samuel Peter. I think it's an interesting proposition to put this card together, and I think it's really the beginning of many more to come here. I really think that they have a drive and a focus to bring more and more athletic events here and more big fights here. I know a lot of MMA is in the Middle East, but I think boxing is starting to make its way here now too.
So if this event goes really well, is it something you might want to continue to be involved in, events here in the Middle East?
Yeah, I like to be involved in all the fights I can. I'm a fan of boxing, and obviously I like to work in boxing, and I like to commentate, and I think I enjoy bringing out some of the nuances in the fights that maybe people won't see otherwise, or people won't notice otherwise, and kind of give people a better perspective of the fight. So absolutely, I try to work as many fights as I can, especially events like this. They interest me, and I hope that in the future that I can be a part of it.
Brilliant. Well, is it okay to speak for a moment just about your own career and your most recent fight? Cool. So, I mean, do you feel like you won the fight against Lobov?
I think everybody knows I won the fight against Lobov. I think the only people that don't think I won the fight against Lobov are a couple of biased MMA people that didn't want me to win to begin with. I think you can see the bias in these people when they talk about it. But otherwise, I think it's pretty obvious. I think everybody who I've spoken to here, everywhere I go, they know I won the fight. They tell me I won the fight. I don't even have to bring up the fight. People just see me and say, "Man, I cannot believe how they robbed you in that fight." So it's kind of wild. I think I won a pretty clear rounds 1, 2, and 3 very clearly. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt I won rounds 2 and 3. I think the problem is, I hurt my hand, so I would have probably been looking to stop him by about round 4 and 5. Instead, I had to kind of be too crafty for him, both in 3, 4, and 5. So I think it kind of went over their heads. I've kind of tried to understand, how it is that they fall into these actually thinking Lobov won the fight, and I've come to think of it, in boxing, a knockdown is actually from a punch. In MMA, anywhere you go down, a guy can jump on you. So I think when they saw me trip over his feet in round 3, he's a southpaw, I'm a right-hander, so a lot of times you trip over feet. I think they think like maybe I was going off balance, and in an MMA fan's mind, and an MMA fighter's mind, maybe that's being hurt, or maybe that's getting close to a knockdown or whatnot. And maybe that's reason for them to feel like there was an advantage there. But a trip or a slip up in a boxing match is not it doesn't count. It doesn't count as any extra credit. The actual punches landed count. And I think the story of my hands told the story themselves. I hit him so many times and so often that my hands will actually look like they were like 3 hands on top of each other. So I think it's pretty free and clear who landed the better punches, who landed the more punches, who landed the harder punches. The cuts on my face don't tell that he landed any hard punches. He didn't land any hard punches at all, actually. My face wasn't even sore the next day. I got a couple of bad cuts and one clinch where he's able to land a couple of shots. I don't even think those were clean. I think they just scraped me. But of course, I have a lot of scar tissue from Pat's cuts in my career, and of course, inside there with bare hands, you don't have to hit hard to open cuts on the inside, So to tell you the truth, I really don't think I got hit clean the whole fight. I was riding with a lot of shots. I mean, I wasn't sore the next day in any part of my body except my hands. I was like wondering the next day. I'm like, I feel like I fell down a flight of steps. I don't feel like I even had a fight. It was crazy. I had no soreness at all, even for the days leading after the fight. So there was a very non-contact fight for me. Aside from the one clinch, there wasn't a lot of things that were going my way that landed very cleanly. I rolled with a lot of shots. I went with a lot of shots, even if they landed. There was a cut I had here on my cheekbone, on my orbit bone, but that's because I have metal under here. So when the skin hits that, I've been cut there several times in my career because Lobov doesn't get credit for that. Miguel Cotto gets credit for that because I have metal there and titanium there because I fought the Miguel Cotto fight and I wound up with titanium on my orbit bone. So because the skin is pushing up against the titanium here, when you hit it, you don't even have to hit it hard. There must have been some kind of shot I got grazed with in round 1 or 2 because honestly, you look at round 1 or 2, what is he hitting me with, you know? And I have this opens up in round 2. So again, bare hands, it's easier to open cuts, especially if you have scar tissue there already. But I shouldn't even have to really explain this. I mean, I don't even know why I keep explaining it to utter morons, you know? I mean, because like I said, everywhere I go, it's been pretty obvious that I won the fight, and I won the fight pretty handily, despite fighting 60%, over 60% of it with one hand, you know? But that's my thoughts on the fight, and really, like I said, I'm as I've said before, I'm tired of the injuries. I'm tired of dealing with the politics. You know, I've dealt with a lot of politics in my career in general. You know, so I could have probably been given 1 or 2 other decisions in my career, which would have changed the landscape of my career and probably made me more money in my career. But I think it's only fitting for a fighter like Paulie Malignaggi to end his career getting fucked by the judges and winding up with an injured hand as well.
I mean, you say about the hand, how is it healing? I see that it's in the cast there. Like, what's the recovery time that's kind of expected on that?
The right hand is in the cast probably for another 4 to 6 weeks. I've been in it for 2 weeks now. But to tell you the truth, my left hand is actually bothering me more. You know, it's in the cast, but the right hand's in the cast and it's protected. My left hand is still sore. My left hand still has some swelling, and it's been 2 weeks. It's still not back to where it was. When I close my hand, I can still feel tightness in it, and there's the tenderness around the knuckles. So I think I didn't have any fractures in it, thankfully, but I think the left hand, just in general, because I had to use it so much more, and I was actually landing it. I think it may take a little bit of time to heal despite no fracture, you know. So again, I'm just not in a position to be able to fight again. People ask me what I fight again or whatnot. I don't think my hands were ever blessed enough to be fighting hands, you know. So I consider myself lucky and fortunate to have gotten as far as I can, you know. I've got a lot of ability talent-wise, but my hands never cooperated.
So just to close, kind of going off on a bit of a tangent, there's a lot happening in the heavyweight scene right now, right? Who would you say is really the top person to watch out for at the moment in the heavyweight scene? In
my opinion, Tyson Fury is the best heavyweight, but of course Deontay Wilder's right there. You know, obviously with Joshua getting beaten by Ruiz, you're going to mention Ruiz in the mix too, in that mix too, and obviously Joshua is not far off, but I do think Tyson and Deontay now are head and shoulders above the rest. Although Ruiz would probably have something to say about that, you know, but. They're saying that they got to do the rematch next year, and they're saying that it's almost signed, or it is signed. So, I think everybody can look forward to that. I think it was the first fight was full of unexpected drama, you know, and I think I expect the same out of these guys the second time around. I think it's commendable that they're both fighting each other while still in their prime. You know, you don't see enough of that anymore in boxing. You used to see a lot more of that in the old days, you know. But I think the fact that they fought each other the first time in their prime, and it wasn't really appreciated because people were so uptight about Deontay and Joshua fighting. And again, I wouldn't mind seeing that fight, but I think people didn't appreciate it enough going in what Deontay and Tyson Fury were about to fight. And then when they got a great fight, and then they've seen the results in the heavyweight division since, I think now it's become the marquee matchup in the heavyweight division. And I think the second time around, it will be much more appreciated by all the fans that the fact that these guys are fighting each other and they're willing to put it all on the line once again, this time when everybody will know what the risk is on the line.
Well, we really, really appreciate your insight, and hopefully you'll be enjoying watching the fight on Friday as much as anyone else. Thank you a lot for speaking with us.
Yeah, I hope so, and I hope to be back again.
Nice.